The St. Louis Cardinals beat the Atlanta Braves 5-4. They finished the first half 51-46, 5 games over 500, and they've landed one of the most highly regarded pitchers in this year's draft class. Welcome back to Cardinal Territory. I'm your host, Katie Woo. Let's recap what was a very busy and very long Sunday here at Busch Stadium, and it's still going. We'll start with the game itself, a game that began a little after 1 p.m. local time and ended a little after 8 p.m. So that was super cool. The Cardinals braved through two very lengthy rain delays. I think we were up to almost 5 hours of delays. And as manager Ollie Marmol said when that game finally ended, if you're going to wait that long for a game, you better win it. And that they did. Jose Fermin was the hero in this one. He smacked a go-ahead 2-run homer in the 7th inning. The first homer of his major league career. That's always special, especially when it gives your team the lead. And the Cardinals really needed to end the first half on a good note. The last thing you want to do is head into the All-Star break getting swept, especially by a team like the Braves that has just simply not had a good season. So they played a very winnable series. The Cardinals lost by 1 run both Friday and Saturday, and I was off on Saturday, but I firmly believe they were going to win that game. A 9th inning and 8th inning collapse that just was pretty unusual for Phil Maton, at least. So two very winnable games, Friday and Saturday, put you in a spot where you felt like you absolutely had to win today's game, and they were able to do so despite what was just a very grueling time at the ballpark. But in between all those rain delays, we had plenty of things to talk about because, in case you hadn't heard, with the 5th overall pick in the 2025 MLB Amateur Draft, the Cardinals selected left-handed pitcher Liam Doyle out of the University of Tennessee. And this was a very exciting pick, I think. For those of you unfamiliar with Liam Doyle, I'll go ahead and read you some stats off the Cardinals press release. He's 21 years old, recently completed his junior season with the Volunteers. He made 19 appearances, 17 starts, went 10-4 with a 3.20 ERA, and this is the most exciting part, a school record 164 strikeouts across 95 2/3 innings pitched. He led the nation with a strikeout per 9 innings rate of 15.43, second overall in the country in strikeouts collegiately. And when you ask Scouting Director Randy Flores what sticks out about Liam Doyle, here's what he'll say. We have a little recap up of the day on The Athletic. Here's what Flores told media when he spoke to us a couple of hours ago. When we saw that Liam Doyle could be in play as the draft board unfolded, everyone was excited. Doyle has a very unique fastball. Not only is the shape unique, the velocity is a level above his peers. There are a range of outcomes of any player, and his range of outcomes includes an extremely high floor, and the ceiling is through the roof. So let's talk about that fastball because it is his most dominant weapon. I mean, it is truly one of the reasons why, and we'll get into this, Liam Doyle is projected to be one of the quicker, fast track, quick risers, however you want to talk it, prospect in the majors. Doyle was named the SEC Pitcher of the Year, and he tore up the opposition with his fastball. Sits 96-99, regularly topped out at 101 miles per hour. He struck out over 42% of batters faced this year. And that's super exciting because when you have a chance to draft high velo, swing and miss from the left side, you take that. And there were a ton of impressive lefty collegiate arms there. To me, Doyle is the one that is the most exciting because of that aforementioned fast track possibility to the major leagues. Here's a message, or not a message, an article, a snippet from Keith Law, our top prospect draft evaluator, on why he believes Liam Doyle could be a very quick riser through a minor league system. He points out the fastball first. I'll read it. Doyle's fastball may be the best in the class this year in terms of how it plays, which should, at the very least, let him get through the minors quickly. Now, here is where Keith Law kind of speculates or hypothesizes on what that track record could look like. Law said, a team could take Doyle in July and either try to call him up as a reliever in September if they're contending, or more likely, and maybe more responsibly, put him on the same path that Chase Burns or Paul Skeens took, eyeing a June-ish call-up next year. Now, we know this about the draft. Major league teams do not draft for major league need. You draft for what's available. But when you think about the skyrocketing costs of starting pitching on the market, and you have an ability to take someone that many project across the board, whether you get your evaluations from The Athletic, Baseball America, ESPN, that say he could be a number 2 starter very soon, you take it. And that's exactly what Flo was talking about when he spoke to us earlier this evening. I asked him about if there's any consideration about the market and starting pitching and why you would need to maybe lean towards developing it instead of going out and acquiring it because it's so expensive. And that's exactly what he said. He said there's risk in this pick, but I think for upside, you have to swallow that risk. Acquiring swing and miss, acquiring 101 miles per hour with that unique fastball on the free agent market is very expensive. And we know the Cardinals have never really been in the market for such lucrative acquisitions. So to be able to have someone, especially with the organization focusing on drafting and developing, reverting back to what they were really good at, this is such a fun pick. We'll have a chance to talk to Liam Doyle very shortly. I think he's going to Zoom with reporters within the next hour or so. So very excited to get to know a little bit about what he's about. If you would like to know about Liam Doyle, and you're not quite sure because the draft, MLB draft is not like NBA or NFL where you know these players because you see them every day. And, they're usually not major league ready. If you would like a little snippet on who Liam Doyle, the pitcher, is, just Google Liam Doyle celebrations and you will see a very fiery person who is not afraid to express his emotions on the mound. Gives me a little bit Lance Lynn, Chris Carpenter vibes. Just a really fun pick. And again, something that I think it has been not usual for the Cardinals. They had a chance to really do something here with the number 5 pick, and they're thrilled about it. And again, for those of you who need a refresher, this is the first time in Cardinals franchise history where they've had back-to-back years with a top 10 pick. They obviously took J.J. Weatherholt, number 7 overall. Now they have Liam Doyle, largely regarded as one of the best left-handed pitchers available in this draft class. And again, many believe his fast track to the majors is a legit possibility. So Cardinals will make 4 picks total tonight. The draft is 3 rounds this in day 1, and then day 2 begins at 10:30 Central Time. They already made their second pick, number 55 overall. Let me pull it up because I just saw it. It just came through. Oh, and they also just made their 72nd. Things are picking up. So with their 55th pick in the draft, the Cardinals selected outfielder Ryan Mitchell from Houston High School. And then with their 3rd pick, they selected right-handed pitcher Tanner Franklin, another Volunteer. So clearly St. Louis legend Tony Vitello, the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, having some impact with this draft. We'll break down a lot more about Liam Doyle as we get to know him a little bit more over the next week or so. And we're going to get to talk to Liam Doyle in exactly 20 minutes. So this is going to be a shorter episode. With that being said, let's get to our first ad read. Let's hear from Huel.
AJ, we're in Vegas right now, and I have not had a lot of time to eat during the day. So
no.
What could we do?
I would love a Huel right now. Vanilla Huel would go down perfectly because when I have to skip meals because I'm too busy doing what you do in Vegas, which is not eat, I need a quick replacement, and Huel is the perfect thing.
I'm a chocolate guy myself. It's got the chocolate milkshake vibes to it. If you miss a meal, Huel can be your answer. If you're looking for a big protein boost, Huel can be your answer. So go check it out. Our friends at Huel are part of today's sponsorship. They've got you covered, spelled Huel. That black edition is a complete meal to feel full, focused, and ready for your day. Little prep, basically no prep. Shake it, open it. Huel has sold over 500 million meals around the world, and now it's your turn to try it. So go to Huel.com/foul and get Huel today with the exclusive offer for the FT fam of 15% off for new customers if you use the code, you know it, FOUL, minimum $75 purchase. Get after it.
All right, let's pivot to the Major League roster. Before Sunday's game, the Cardinals activated Ivan Herrera off the injured list, but placed Lars Nootbaar on it. I'm going to read the official, diagnosis because it's very long and I don't really know how to pronounce it. He was placed on the 10-day injured list with a left costal chondral sprain. So for those of you who are not doctors like myself, that is essentially the same rib cage area that's plagued him for the last couple of weeks, just unable to play through it. The hope is he'll take 4 days off for the All-Star break and miss the minimum amount of time, or maybe a little bit over. Cardinals don't believe it'll be something that'll wipe him out for a month, but he certainly needs a couple of weeks to heal from that. The ribs, the cartilage over there, it's a very tricky place. But the good news for the Cardinals is that Ivan Herrera picked up right where he left off. He was the DH, hit second today. And the Cardinals had a really short bench. Nolan Arenado is still dealing with that right index sprain. He was not available today. Nolan Gorman, after his big day on Saturday, had his back lock up. He was unavailable today. So they really had, I think, 9-10 players to go. And that was not easy by any means, again, factoring into the rain. So Not what you want. The Cardinals are banged up. This break could not be coming at a better time for anyone, including myself. So as we look forward to what the Cardinals look like in the second half, we know there will not be a new bar. Maybe a Jordan Walker. We'll see. He homered yesterday. Was yesterday Saturday? Yes, for Double-A Springfield, which is a great sign. But again, this is a major league hitter, so he, homering in Double-A loses a little bit of the glory. We're looking more or less, and we said this on the last episode, on the approach, on the pitch selection, on how he feels overall. The results are just an added bonus. Not quite sure what this means for Nolan Arenado. The last conversation I had with him was that he was really hoping that some rest would be able to, excuse me one second. Got to get to that. Like I said, guys, just a lot going on. This is a crazy way to end the first half. But back to Nolan Arenado. Was hoping that the next few days just away from baseball would give him a chance to reset. This is a guy that has historically avoided the injured list throughout his career. I think he's only been on it 3 times in his over 12-year tenure in baseball. So not something that he really is crazy about. He wants to play there every day, but he did acknowledge on Friday when he left the game early that the index finger sprain was making it hard to throw, was making it hard to hit, and he just couldn't play baseball like this. It's just not looking like good baseball all around. So keep your fingers crossed for Nolan Arenado. The Cardinals could certainly, especially when you think about how important the next 2 weeks are leading into the trade deadline, they can't afford to lose him. The back thing for Nolan Gorman, that's always been an on and off issue. Again, hope is that with rest, he'll be fine. But it's no secret that the Cardinals here are running on fumes. So not sure what this means. Who's going to replace Newbar every day in left field? Burleson's done a nice job becoming a corner outfielder. And again, maybe this opens the door for Jordan Walker. But we'll see. What I do know about this Cardinals team is that we lean into the thick of it after the draft. The All-Star game will be super great in Atlanta. We love that, fun celebration. But I think as Major League executives are tuning in to what's going on, there hasn't been just a lot of traction. And that's because there are so many bubble teams, the Cardinals included, that are going to impact the trade deadline. But the majority of these bubble teams, as I pull up the wild card roster, one moment, please. Let's just go through them because there's a ton in both leagues. The National League has a bunch of players in wildcard contention, all separated by 6.5 games. The Brewers, the Mets, and the Padres, as we close out the first half, they would have the wildcard spots. The Giants are a half game out. The Cardinals are a game and a half, and the Reds are 2.5. Diamondbacks kind of lingering, looking like they're probably might sell at 47 and 50, 5.5 games out of the wild card. So you're looking at 6 teams kind of all in the bubble on if they can make the postseason, if they should push for it. Then you look at the American League. You have the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Mariners with the top 3 spots right now. And then this is super fascinating to me. You have a group of 6 teams in the wild card race for the final 3 spots. And 5 of them have records under 500. The Rays are the closest to sneaking into that wild card spot at 50 and 47. They're a game and a half out. But the Rangers are a game under 500. The Angels are 2. The Twins are 2. The Royals are 3. The Guardians are 3. And the Guardians, representing the lowest on that level, are just 4.5 games out of the wild card. So again, a ton of bubble teams that are really impacting and congesting the trade deadline, which makes it really hard for the industry to know what exactly is going on here. So I would expect over the next 2 weeks, as we kick off play, the Cardinals will start the second half in Arizona on Friday against the Diamondbacks. You're going to see over the next 10 days, teams really start to make a decision on if they're buyers, sellers, or holders. Not every single bubble team is going to stay in this race. And that could be the Cardinals. Who knows? But eventually teams are going to taper out, and then the market will take place. And as I talk to agents, executives, fellow reporters across the industry, we are all expecting an insane final 72 hours before the trade deadline. So be patient. I know there hasn't been a lot of traction going on, not a lot of news, not a lot of rumors. That will change. It will just make for a very crazy, hectic week as we head into the deadline, which is scheduled for July 31st at 5 p.m. St. Louis time. And I just don't really have a lot of updates as to who the Cardinals could be trading or who they couldn't be, because again, they haven't really decided their path or the direction they're going to take. I will say, in talking to various executives across the league, they have a ton of players that teams are interested in. So if they do decide to sell, I believe one executive told me they could be a real linchpin for the industry. The problem is I don't think the Cardinals are very inclined to sell at the moment, especially if they're just a game and a half out of the wild card race. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. Could get weird. We'll see. Quick message from our partners at DraftKings, and we'll get into some second half previews. Nothing beats relaxing on a hot summer day and watching baseball, and the simplest way to get in on the action is to download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6. And right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code FAL, that's code FAL, for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Bonus picks expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
I've decided I don't really love hearing my voice being played back at me in real time. That's scary. For those of you who listen to this podcast, thank you, because if that's what my voice sounds like on a daily basis, how annoying. Ew. All right, guys, as we head into the second half, I, for one, would not have had the Cardinals 5 games over 500. And I think all around, it's been a much more exciting first half. And I know Bernie and I talked about this on last episode. I understand your apathy. I understand the messaging has probably impacted your view over this organization, and I get it. And I had a couple of conversations with some people within the organization, and we all came to the same conclusion. You were told at the end of the 2024 season that in 2025, essentially the focus and priority would not be on winning ball games. It would be about drafting and developing. And I firmly believe this is the right path for the Cardinals to take going forward. I think what they're doing is smart. I know it doesn't make for the most compelling baseball, and it certainly is a frustrating time to be a fan, but I think the organization long-term will benefit immensely from this. And I think I was having a hard time understanding why there was such a disconnect over the Cardinals' surprising success, and it's because you all were conditioned to expect not a good season. And the Cardinals didn't spend in the offseason. They likely aren't going to make any impact trades. There is definitely some fatigue with the president of baseball operations and to some extent the manager. And essentially, you as a fan base were told from ownership, hey, we're not going to spend money on this team. We're going to try to win, but our money is not going to be put where our mouth is. And we're going to focus on the long-term outlook of this team. If we win, great. And I know Cardinals fans are sitting here thinking, well, if the message wasn't that they're trying to win, why should we reward them for doing something they weren't trying to do in the first place? I understand. I get it. And if I was a fan, I would probably feel the same way. But I do think as we sit here on July 13th, that the Cardinals, the probability of them going on and having a 2011 year, that's not very high. And if I'm sitting here now, I do probably think they're very similar. The season trajectory is probably going to be very similar to 2024. Where they're in it a little bit up until the final couple weeks of the season. But I still think that there are some really excited pieces to look forward to, whether that's Brendan Donovan, whether it's Matthew Liberatore. Take your pick of some of these young guys. Victor Scott II, still a defensive star out there. Just try to enjoy it because it could have been so much worse. I didn't think the season was going to be like 2023 status, at least I hope not. But to be able to sit here as we head into the All-Star break and talk about the Cardinals playing competitive baseball, that was not something I had on my personal 2025 St. Louis Cardinals bingo card. So I don't know what's going on in the second half. I know it's been frustrating this season, and I know the messaging changes all the time. Trust me, as someone who is responsible for delivering said message, it is very hard to keep up. And if you feel like you are being gaslit or you have commitment issues with the organization, I hear you. I totally do. But something I've tried to tell myself as we head into crunch time, if you will, of the season is that it's best to just try to enjoy it because it's such an unpredictable sport. And this has been such a roller coaster season so far. If we focus on the long-term picture, I think this is the right step for the organization. So let's just enjoy the ride no matter where it goes. Wow, so mature, so calm. See what 18 hours at the ballpark does for me in one day? I've lost my mind. All right, Cardinal Territory friends and family, I got to jump off this one a little early because we have Liam Doyle in exactly 9 minutes. And I would like to personally get to know the newest St. Louis Cardinal. So hopefully next week, we'll definitely have more information on him. We'll have more of a background. We're working on getting a couple of very special guests in the next 2 weeks. So that's exciting. And I hope you stick around for it. Have a safe and happy All-Star break. We'll still have 3 episodes for you next week. There are no days off here. You know this by now. So as always, thanks for watching and sticking with me throughout the first half. Let's hope the second half is just as fun, if not more. And yeah, be safe.